She's the toughest critter in Bikini Bottom, and even she gets a bum deal from time to time. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today, we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst things to ever happen to sandy cheeks. For this list, we'll be recounting some of the most unfortunate incidents to befall our favorite deep-sea diving land squirrel. Also, be sure to check out our other videos where we see what unlucky events occurred to her underwater pals, including SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward. If you've never seen these plights before, there will be spoilers. Number 10. The Alaskan Bull Worm. An Alaskan bull worm has slithered into town on a massive eating spree, devouring anything in its path, including Sandy's tail.
Varmint must have got it while I had my back turned!
Despite SpongeBob's warnings, the vengeful squirrel is determined to find the monster and take back what's hers. Unfortunately, her overconfidence may be her undoing when she sees that the worm might be too much for her to handle. We all know that Sandy's arguably the strongest critter in Bikini Bottom, but today was not her day. Not only does she have her tail stolen, but she and SpongeBob almost get eaten by a big, scary pink monstrosity because she got too cocky. Thankfully, the two managed to escape the beast and save the town. Sort of. Number 9. MissAppear. When Mermaid Man is in need of heroes to help take on EVIL, Sandy gets in on the action as the elusive MissAppear.
MissAppear! Now you see her! Now you don't!
With her invisibility powers, it seems like nothing can stop her, except for an oncoming boatmobile. Unable to see the camouflaged squirrel, the car slams into Sandy, sending her flying through a billboard and down a steep cliff. Thankfully, because she was invisible, we don't see anything too gruesome, though hearing it was more than enough. Even more fortunate is that Sandy survives the whole ordeal and is able to laugh it off at the end, albeit in crutches. It just goes to show that being a superhero is dangerous work, even for the great Sandy Cheeks. Number 8. Robbed, humiliated, and arrested. In another harebrained evil scheme, Plankton swipes Sandy's fur pelt to impersonate her and swindle the Krabby Patty formula from SpongeBob. Meanwhile, Sandy goes on the hunt for the thief who stole her fur, but the townsfolk are no help at all.
Look at a naked chipmunk.
Instead, they just laugh at her furless state and shame her for being a nudist. To add insult to injury, when Sandy finally catches Plankton, she gets arrested for public nudity right as the episode ends.
Take the sicko away!
Actually, we're referring to you, ma'am. Public nudity is against the law in this county.
No matter how Texas tough she is, the episode doesn't even try to cut poor Sandy a break, instead humiliating and punishing her for something that isn't her fault. Plus, the charges don't even make sense since she wasn't that indecent, just bald. Number 7. The Flea Outbreak. SpongeBob and Patrick go all out to welcome Sandy home from her trip.
First cake, then we'll karate chop, and then...
Well, guys, you two, really know how to, throw a party.
Unfortunately, her homecoming is ruined when she ends up bringing home a nasty surprise, a hungry flea. This nasty pest wastes no time making a meal out of our trio, and things get even worse when it multiplies into a whole swarm of bloodsuckers. With nowhere left to run, Sandy only has one option left: flood the treatum to drown the fleas, accidentally sucking in the townsfolk in the process. Any pet owner can confirm that fleas are nothing but trouble, but these pets were too tough for even Sandy. What a way to return home.
It sure is good to have you back, Sandy.
Number 6. Having her tree dome destroyed. Sandy asks SpongeBob to watch over her tree dome while she's out for the day. At first, things go well, but then Patrick shows up and everything falls apart, in the literal sense.
Was it me?
Sandy returns to her destroyed tree dome and fixes everything with a special ray gun, only for SpongeBob to accidentally ruin everything again. But before Sandy can fix everything again, her invention is broken so that she can't reverse the damage. And then the episode just ends. It's bad enough that this episode was agonizingly slow in pacing, but the abrupt end where Sandy's home is wrecked all over again is just frustrating, especially since Sandy will have to clean everything up by hand. Number 5. Almost deported. How does Sandy afford to have a tree dome under the sea? It turns out that her bosses are a trio of British chimpanzees who fund her research and inventions. Unfortunately, Sandy has been having trouble making a useful invention to impress them, and if she can't give them what they want, she'll be forced to leave town.
Now it's feeding me delicious pudding!
Pudding? I don't remember that part of the invention.
SpongeBob and Patrick try to help with an invention of their own, but they end up making things worse and almost ruining her chances to remain. Thankfully, the episode does have a happy ending, but it's terrifying how close she came to being forced to leave behind everything and everyone she loves in Bikini Bottom.
Will this bus take you somewhere when you've got nowhere else to go?
Oh, it sure does. We make stops in Quittersville, Failure Town, and Loserburg.
Number 4. Disturbed and shaved during hibernation. With her tree dome all locked up and filled with snow, Sandy is all bulked up and ready for hibernation.
Hey, Sandy! Don't wake up!
Unfortunately, SpongeBob and Patrick's curiosity leads them to break into her home and disturb her slumber with their shenanigans. To survive the rest of winter, our favorite numbskulls resort to shaving off Sandy's fur to keep warm, leaving her bald and embarrassed when spring finally arrives.
SpongeBob! Patrick!
We should feel bad for the twosome for enduring the harsh weather and getting beaten up by the sleepwalking Sandy, but they kind of deserved it for trespassing and stealing her winter coat. Fortunately, Sandy has a way for the boys to make it up to her. At least until her hair grows back.
More lemonade, boys?
Thanks, Sandy!
Spring sure is lovely.
Number 3. SpongeBob's Squirrel Jokes. To save his failed stand-up career from going under, SpongeBob wins over the audience by telling squirrel jokes, putting heavy emphasis on how smelly and stupid they are.
What's up with that squirrel fur? I guess fleas need a home too, huh?
Naturally, this hurts Sandy's feelings, but SpongeBob assures her that it's all in good fun. Unfortunately, the townsfolk take the jokes too seriously and start treating Sandy like she really is dumb and smelly.
What's your name?
Don't stand too close to a squirrel, Billy. You'll catch it stupid.
Worst of all, SpongeBob doesn't want to give up the jokes because of how well they sell.
What a great sport. Let's give a big hand to Sandy. But clap slow because remember, she's a squirrel!
It's hard to tell which was worse for Sandy, having a bunch of idiots insult her or having her best friend humiliate her instead of respecting her wishes to stop. Fortunately, it's nothing a little bit of payback can't solve.
I need more!
Oh, that's right. You's a sea critter. Now, what was that thing sea critters need?
Number 2. Nearly suffocated. SpongeBob and Patrick have been blowing bubbles with hot sauce, because why wouldn't they? Tragically, their horseplay ends up destroying the oxygen supply to Sandy's tree dome, and the poor squirrel's spacesuit is slowly running out of air.
Air is up there.
Yeah, right after I grab a quick bite at the Krusty Krab.
The lack of fresh air causes her to become delirious and slowly suffocate, and her friends take their sweet time trying to find temporary and embarrassing means to get her some oxygen.
Daddy! There's a submarine on the roof. Oh, you seem kind of busy.
While SpongeBob fixes everything in the end, sort of, he and Patrick's bumbling recklessness put Sandy in terrible danger of drowning. They should consider themselves very lucky that Sandy's so forgiving. Before we unveil the worst thing to happen to this Texan squirrel, here are a few honorable mentions.
Hurry before they forget you and leave you behind. Remember, there's no place like home. Is one udder better than another udder?
We'll just have to milk all. Chow down, SpongeBob.
No thanks. Already ate, see?
You done turned my little science experiment into a disaster. You two ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Nice try, Sandy.
Or should I say, Miss Alien Pants?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Sandy's a girl? During a contest of land creatures versus sea creatures, Sandy angrily removes her suit and helmet to show that she doesn't need either. Unfortunately, she ends up struggling to hold her breath. And what do SpongeBob and their friends do?
How long can she stay like that?
I don't know.
Sandy's a girl?
They mockingly wait for her to run out of air, goading her to take a breath, and laugh at her being forced to wear a pickle jar to breathe.
But none of you wetheads would last a minute on my turf. Dry land.
Do we have to wear pickle jars?
Even if it was just a contest, the fact that Sandy nearly drowned and her so-called friends just sat back mocking her is pretty terrible. While she does get even in the end, it kind of makes you wonder if Sandy would have been better off never coming to Bikini Bottom at all. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.